So Ros, I was thinking, what sort of really excites you about this project?
I'm really excited about this project. At the Institute of Cancer Research where I work and the Royal Marsden, over the years, we've done several big projects where they made me very excited. A classic example would be when we worked with geneticists, physicists and radiologists to do a study of MRI breast screening in high-risk women who had BRCA and other genetic mutations or strong family histories. And that led to a national guideline of using MRI screening in a certain context. And I feel the same way about this project. I think eventually it will lead to national guidelines. I think it will lead to standard of care. And that's really what makes me so excited. I do think that looking at somebody's whole genome, somebody's genetic makeup really sits in primary care. Because at the moment, one's GP does, say, a health screen, they might do an estimate of how likely it is that you've got diabetes, heart disease. Often they might detect things at the time when the disease has occurred. But if you could use prevention, if you knew something was at higher risk, then you could prevent it occurring. So that's what makes the project so exciting. And the second thing about the project is that because we're doing the whole genome, we're covering many different areas. So at the moment, you can look for alterations in high risk cancer predisposition genes. That's my main area, to look at earlier screening. And my colleague Tessa Humphrey is looking at alterations related to cardiovascular disease risk and also alterations that might be important for family planning, and she's going to talk about that. But the other thing that's very exciting is that there are alterations that are associated with pharmacology, and that's really where I hand over to you, because you're doing a lot of the drug prescribing in primary care. How do you feel about the pharmacogenetic aspect of it?
I think we feel all a little bit unknowledgeable to start with this area, so it's quite a fast learning aspect to it. But you can see with genes, say, that show that clopidogrel, one of the most common drugs used in heart attack and stroke prevention and in people who've had stents, and it doesn't work in 2% of people, and this study shows it. Your pharmacogenes will show you are a poor metabolizer of that drug, so it won't go from an inactive drug to an active component, so it won't work, and neither the doctor nor the patient knows that it's not going to work. I think those type of changes, and as you say, there's a large number of areas of pharmacogenes that are really exciting for adjusting the doses of, say, warfarin, or adjusting the doses of antidepressants. And obviously cancer is going to come through more strongly. We've got certain changes where we know people have a gene called DPYD deficiency. It's caused by that genetic alteration, and that means that you won't metabolize 5-fluorouracil, one of the most common cancer drugs. And if you take that drug as a patient in a normal dose, you may be killed by that. And so those are obviously huge breakthroughs from pharmacogenes. So I think it's, as you say, very exciting, and we will see it in the future being on our computers, just like we have drug allergies and drug interactions. The pharmacogenes will be in that computer for that particular patient, so that in the end the prescription is specifically tailored for that person's own pharmacogene profile. Yeah.